Guys, this is Mr. Joshy J, and welcome to your F1 2020 season review. So in this video, I go through the driver ratings and team ratings for the 2020 Formula 1 season. I'm going to start off with my favourite races of the year. Number one is probably Mugello, Imola, and Istanbul, the changeable weather conditions where Hamilton won his 7th world title in style. Even though the Mercedes wasn't the fastest car in them conditions, it was a masterclass from Lewis Hamilton. So, absolutely fantastic. Of course, Pierre Gasly in Monza, winning for the first time at AlphaTauri. He beat Carlos Sainz in victory, where Hamilton or Mercedes made an absolute massive error because Hamilton went to pit, but he pitted under the safety car, so he had a penalty, so Mercedes threw that race away, a bit like in Bahrain or the Sahara Grand Prix with George Russell covering for Hamilton, and Mercedes made a crucial error, and that was the end for George Russell's hopes of winning a race. Of course, Sergio Perez won the race, his first race win for Racing Point. Now got a join for Red Bull, so that's fantastic news. But there was some great racing this year. I mean, I got to say the most unbelievable moment of the season was where Roman Grosjean walked away from that horrific accident. Literally, his car split in half, caught on flames, but luckily he was able to escape. My goodness me. Every time I see it, it gives me shivers down my spine. It really does. Horrific, but thankfully he lives to tell the tale. My goodness me. And his replacement, like Mazepin, my goodness me, what a loose cannon he is. To me, they should just terminate Mazepin's contracts and let Fittipaldi race, because Fittipaldi covering for Grosjean did really well the last two races of the season. Didn't put a foot wrong, so if I was Haas, I'd just say tear up Mazepin's contracts and let Fittipaldi have a chance. Because Mazepin is nothing but trouble. He's only in the sport because of money. That's all it is. It's a joke. An absolute joke. But anyway, let's get on to driver ratings and team ratings then. So, as I said, I gave my top 3 best races. Worst races to me were Abu Dhabi, Russia, and what another one was a boring fest. There's been a few what were a boring fest. I can't think of any others, but definitely I gotta say, San Marino, not a lot of overtaken at San Marino either, so probably my 3 worst races: San Marino, Abu Dhabi, and Russia. So driver ratings and team ratings then. Now, this is me giving an honest opinion, and not me being biased or anything, because on this channel, it's about me, where I say my honest opinion. So, as always, we're going to start off with the top teams. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, 10 out of 10. Fantastic season. Dominated the season. Won his 7th world title. Beat Michael Schumacher's record of wins. An amazing season for Lewis Hamilton. And next year, he'll be chasing number 8. Valtteri Bottas, 5 out of 10. Not consistent enough. Just not a match for Lewis Hamilton. He started off the season well by winning in Austria, but then won in Russia. But Bottas is not consistent enough. He's not aggressive enough, like what Rosberg was at Mercedes. Because that's how Rosberg got the better of Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, so not the best of seasons for Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen, 9 out of 10. Constantly consistent. Mostly on the podium. Always doing well. Yeah, so great season for Max Verstappen. Definitely best of the rest at times. Alexander Albon, 3 out of 10. Shocking season by Max Verstappen's former teammate now, because he's been replaced by Sergio Perez. Alex Albon just wasn't consistent enough. If you're going to be fighting Mercedes for the championship, you need two consistent drivers, and Alexander Albon just was not consistent enough at all. So yeah, 3 out of 10 for him. Disappointing season, or what? Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, 9 out of 10. 2 podiums and got the maximum out of that underpowered Ferrari. Brilliant season for Charles Leclerc. His performances were sensational. The not so great moment was where at Austria he crashed into Sebastian Vettel. That's probably his low of the season. And at Turkey, bottled a podium. But Leclerc, very consistent this season, so 9 out of 10. Sebastian Vettel, 1 out of 10. An absolute horrific season for the 4-time world champion. It was truly shambolic for him. You know, kept getting out-qualified by Charles Leclerc. Out in Q2 loads of times, just, it was a sad end to Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari career. It's as simple as that. And I really hope he can redeem himself at Aston Martin. Yep. Renault, Daniel Ricciardo, 7 out of 10. Constantly consistent this season. Got a better Ocon loads of times in qualifying. Just race pace, absolutely superb by the Australian. Esteban Ocon, 5 out of 10. Wasn't quite consistent enough for me, Ocon, in qualifying, but he got a bit better towards the end of the season. But to me, I think he could be doing better, Esteban Ocon. Of course, we say farewell to the name Renault and welcome in Alpine. McLaren, Lando Norris, 7 out of 10. A really solid season for the British driver. Looks very racy in that McLaren this season. And very consistent in the points as well. Carlos Sainz, 7 out of 10. Another consistent season for him as well. McLaren definitely had quite a good season, I think. So yeah, that's why Carlos Sainz deserves a 7 out of 10. His highest points of the season, P2 in Monza. So close to maybe beating Pierre Gasly for a race win, but just not quite to be in the end. Racing points. Sergio Perez, 10 out of 10. My star in the season. Constantly consistent in that racing points. And I'm absolutely buzzing to see what he can do against Max Verstappen in the Red Bull next season. So glad he's got a drive, because I would have been very, very annoyed if he was off the grid next year. Sergio Perez, he was phenomenal. Just did everything right. Very consistent. Lance Stroll, 7 out of 10. Took that shock pole position in Istanbul, Turkey. Had a few good races, but needs to be doing a little bit better, Lance Stroll. So it'd be interesting to see how Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel get on with each other for Aston Martin next season. Yeah, it really is going to be interesting. AlphaTauri, Pierre Gasly, 10 out of 10. A very consistent season for him. 1 in Monza because Mercedes mess up in the pit lane, just like Perez won the Sahara Grand Prix, because of Mercedes cock up in the pits. But yeah, a solid season for Pierre Gasly. Drifted away near the end of the season, but very consistent. Danny Kiat, 6 out of 10. to me, got a bit better near the end of the season, but he just wasn't consistent enough. So that's why he's lost his drive to Yuki Tsunoda. So it'd be interesting how Yuki Tsunoda gets on at AlphaTauri next season. Yep. Haas. Roman Grosjean. Well, Haas weren't that fast, but Roman Grosjean, respectable 6 out of 10. He did everything he could in the slow car. His high point made some good overtakes, but his low point has to be that horrific accident in Bahrain. It was an absolute miracle how he escaped from that. Wow, unbelievable. Kevin Magnussen, 5 out of 10. Not the best of seasons from the Danish driver, but Haas just weren't quick enough this year. It's as simple as that. With that underpowered Ferrari engine, hopefully next season's Ferrari power units will be able to give Haas a bit more power, because they got potential to be a decent team. They really have. Alfa Romeo, Kimi Raikkonen, 7 out of 10. Really good in the races, but not so great in qualifying this season. Antonio Giovinazzi, 7 out of 10. Not that good in races, but qualifying, very consistent. Started to out-qualify Kimi Raikkonen quite a lot near the end of the season, and he was probably the most improved driver this season. So, yep, 7 out of 10 for him. Williams, George Russell, 10 out of 10. An amazing season for George Russell. The amount of times he got that Williams into Q2 was unbelievable. Out-qualified Nicholas Latifi every qualifying session. The only time George Russell was out-qualified by a teammate was, of course, Valtteri Bottas at Mercedes. But even that was tantalisingly closer, out-qualifying Bottas. His high has got to be getting a chance in the Mercedes. His low point has got to be Sakara, where he had the race win taken away from him, and also San Marino, where he was on for a points finish and he bottled it under the safety car, crashed into the wall. That was a devastating moment for George Russell. But apart from that, very, very consistent. Nicholas Latifi, 1 out of 10. To me, up there with Sebastian Vettel as the worst driver in the season. Just not good enough, you know. Out-qualified by George Russell in every qualifying session. Really got to step it up, Nicholas Latifi. Otherwise, his drive is under threat next season. So, right, that's the driver ratings done for the season. Team ratings. Mercedes, 10 out of 10. Absolutely dominated the season. The fastest car out on track. Of course, it helps because they had DAS, the dual axle system, which that is banned for next season. So Mercedes won't have that luxury. But even without DAS, they'll still be fast. Red Bull, 8 out of 10. Solidly consistent for Max Verstappen, but a terrible season for Alexander Albon. Really was. Ferrari, 1 out of 10. It is just painful saying that. Giving Ferrari a 1 out of 10 for their team ratings. But you have to mark them 1 out of 10 because it's been an absolute horseshit season for the Scuderia Ferrari. I absolutely love this team, but underpowered, bad strategy, messed up Sebastian Vettel's pit stops loads of times this season. Not good enough. The whole team just needs to shake up from top to bottom, from the aero department to the strategist guy and to the whole technical department. It just needs a massive shake up in that Scuderia Ferrari team. Shocking season for the team who I've been following since the early 2000s. Pathetic. 1 out of 10. It hurts, but you have to be honest. Renault, 7 out of 10. Really consistent season from the Renault works team, and the Renault power unit, the longer the season went on, was getting very reliable. McLaren, 10 out of 10, P3 in the Constructors' Championship, their best highest position in 8 years. And with new investors and Mercedes power next season, things are definitely on the up for the team based in Silverstone, which I'm absolutely delighted for, because I absolutely love McLaren. I loved them when Mika Hakkinen was driving from them, David Coulthard, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, just brilliant. I've always been a fan of McLaren. They're just a wonderful team, and I'd love nothing more but for them to win races next year with Mercedes power. But the reality is, probably the Mercedes works team are still going to be streets ahead, but a really good season from McLaren. Racing points, 8 out of 10. Decent points for them this season. And of course, Lance Stroll getting that shock pole position. Perez winning for the team at the Sahara Grand Prix. And Lance Stroll finishing third in the Sahara Grand Prix. So P1 and P3. Really good season for Racing Point. Constantly consistent. AlphaTauri, 7 out of 10. They were very consistent. Gasly doing the hard work. Kiat wasn't performing until later on in the season. Haas, 3 out of 10. A shocking season for the American outfit team. Yep, just not good enough. So slow. Car had shocking pace. Poor season for the American outfit. Alfa Romeo, 5 out of 10. A decent season for them. Scored a couple points, but again, underpowered Ferrari power unit, not a lot they could do. Williams, 6 out of 10. George Russell doing all the hard work, but Nicholas Latifi not consistent enough at all. To be fair, Latifi did score a couple of points, but that was because I think the opening race of the season, there were so many DNFs, it was unreal. So that's why Latifi got in the points. But a shocking season for Nicholas Latifi, really is. So driver of the season, I'm going to give it to Perez and Pierre Gasly. Well, obviously, and the 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton. The worst drivers of the season, as I said, Sebastian Vettel and Nicholas Latifi. So write in the comments, let me know down below what you think of my driver ratings and team ratings. Yep, that is the season ratings done. My team of the season, Mercedes. Worst team of the season, Scuderia Ferrari. And I'm just shocked on saying that they are my worst team of the season. But the stats don't lie, you know. To only finish P6 in the Constructors, shocking for a team for Ferrari who managed to have all this money. Embarrassment. Bye-bye.